I have been playing the newest DLC that Corvo Studio has brought us, Blood on the Danube for Easy Red 2. And I gotta say, I've had an absolutely amazing time with this DLC. Of course, aside from the bugs, there's some few bugs, but I think a patch just came out today, if I'm not mistaken, audio and mechanical fixes. I've been playing a little, but overall, I played this on day one, and they have cooked with this DLC. I mean, absolutely cooked. And it is definitely the best content of this game so far. I've been a fan of Easy Red for about a year now. I'd say I got in about a year ago, maybe anywhere from 10 months to 12 months. And the more I play, the more I am 100% convinced that this is the best World War II shooter on the market. And Blood on the Danube just adds to that. If you're watching this and you're wondering if you should get into it, that being Easy Red, of course, I would say now is a better time than ever. I mean, if you can buy this and Blood on the Danube, it's just an amazing package to start. I mean, if not, they have different things, of course, you can play with in it. There's a lot of free campaigns. They just added the 2 different campaigns just a couple months ago. What is it? Tunisia, I think they're called Tunisia. Probably pronouncing that wrong. If I am, go ahead and fix me in the comments. That's fine. But yeah, it's the greatest time to get into it, and I'm going to explain why I think that it is the best time to get in. The DLC itself has a lot to offer for only $7.99 USD. That's on Xbox, but right now Steam is having a sale for $5.99. PC players have us again over here. This DLC is based in Hungary, 1945, which, in other words, was the funny mustache man's last hoorah. If you are a history geek, I'm still trying to learn my ways with it, but it's his last assault, if you would. And with that, it covers 3 different battles, so that's 3 different campaigns across 30 maps, 35 to be exact. And you're not going to get bored throughout these 35 maps. These 35 maps are absolutely beautiful. You can tell that Corvo has put their heart and soul into these maps. I have enjoyed each and every one of them, even just taking moments to look around and just appreciate the beauty within each map. They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. Very different from everything that they've done before. With some of the snow, I got some Stalingrad vibes. That's one of my favorite probably my favorite campaign they've released. I'm still going through Shanghai. Shanghai's pretty good, so I'm still that might be a battle there at the end. If I ever do a ranking, if you want a ranking video, leave that in the comments. But it's got a lot of girth, is what I'm saying. Pause. All right, pause. Over these maps, you're gonna go from tank warfare in the blistering snow in the middle of nowhere. You got 2 IS-2s shooting at 3 Tiger 2s, and you got some T-34s backing you up with some Panzer 4s. The tank variety is awesome. You're gonna go from that. Next mission, it might be street to street warfare, and you can turn them numbers up and have 70 players of course people on each side. Not actual players. You can have 70 actual players, but you're gonna have 70 people fighting side to side in the streets, battling for a position to win. And with, like I said earlier, the 40 new vehicles that you're able to choose from, everybody's going to have something that is going to float your boat. If you are a tank guy, you're going to have the new IS-2s on the Russian side. My personal favorite, the OT-34s, which the OT-34s are just flamethrower tanks. They're basically T-34s, so they have the ammunition, but they are flamethrower tanks, bread and butter. And you get those pulling up to a trench, there is no surviving for those pesky Germans. There's no surviving at all. You get to that trench, they're cooked. They're literally cooked. Those are some of my favorites. The IS-2s are also very fun. There is some IS-2 gameplay in here at some point. You can go off on just absolute rampages with these things. And this is the one right here. These tanks are just insane. And they are, tank hunters. They're supposed to be the heavy tanks. They're supposed to do the heavy lifting. That 122 millimeter slaps. And I say that with emphasis, slaps. This thing, especially if you turn up the blast radius to 2.0, which I 100% recommend, go to your difficulty settings whenever you're starting a game and turn that blast radius up. Because even if you're shooting at other tanks, or you're just shooting at, some pesky German that's trying to cross the ways, the field, and he's trying to get to a house, he's going to no longer exist. This man's going to turn into red mist in 0.2 seconds once you fire. There literally will be no coming back for that poor German. These tanks are absolutely insane. And then you also have the ISUs. The ISUs are pretty fun as well. I've had some fun with them, but the main thing, if I'm loading in, because my one friend, he's a big War Thunder fan, so, shout out to War Thunder if you play War Thunder. I'm not the biggest fan, I like my infantry combat, and I feel like this game gets best of both worlds with that. I think I had a comment once on a short, and I kind of said that, I love my infantry combat. The infantry with this and the tanks, it's like when you're baking a cake, all right? And if you forget the eggs on that cake, you're just going to have a lump of just nothing. It's going to be nothing delicious. And, this game really does get the whole batter, gets it all mixed, slaps that puppy in the oven, slaps it on 400. It's going to pull that greasy pig out of the oven, and it's going to taste delicious, okay? And that's what this DLC is. Absolutely delicious. The tanks themselves, I will say, I was very excited coming into it, especially with the Tiger 2s against the IS-2s. That's a big part of the war. It was, late 1945. Some of this was early 1944, so you're getting into the Tiger 2s. The Tiger 1's very, very revolutionary early on, but then, the Tiger 2s came out. Of course, had engine issues, but in this, you ain't got to worry about that. You just got to worry about reloading and making an impact. And I will say, they do make an impact. The IS-2 battles, if you're sitting there in a T-34, and I had this at the beginning of pre-order a lot, I would shoot at my friend with the T-34, and, you forget how much armor that thing has on the front, and that shell just bounces right off. It's not going to pen at all. The armor on the front was so great that you're just not going to pen. So you got to hope for him to turn around or, maybe get a nice little flank. Overall, the vehicle's amazing. The weapons. There is 25 new weapons across these maps. The absolute best, and I'm pretty sure going to be on the top of most of everybody's list and the things that they're talking about, is the ZG-1229 Night Vision STG. Of course, I have it here in this clip, and I'm glad I'm talking about it while this is playing. Bulky. That is the number one thing to describe this. It's a very bulky scope. Of course, this is 1945. This is very early on in the development of night vision, but the Germans still had it. Them Germans engineers were cooking, There's also Panzers. There's the Panzer night vision tanks, which those are very fun, but I'm pretty sure the rifle is the main focus of the fun. You're just running around, and I had to brighten this up because I turned the darkness all the way up. I wanted it to be all the way dark, and it was, trust me. I was running through pitch black with this thing, and it was just awesome. When me and my friends were playing through this, we had a great time. It was amazing. With this weapon, very much so fun. My second favorite on the list is probably the Man Licker, which I like to call the Man Lyncher. I think it's just called the Man Lyncher. They're the Man Lyncher. I don't know. But it is the standard 35 or 3.5 Hungary rifle. It is amazing. And I didn't expect a lot from just a common infantry rifle, but this rifle, for some reason, to me, was just very fun. I loved playing with it. I love the animations, the reload, the way it feels when you shoot it. It just feels like a very good gun, and holding off against the Red Army was very fun while using this thing. The Danube carbine was also very, very good. I expected pretty high hopes for this one, and it did not go through badly. The Rox flamethrower was also very, very good, and that's one of the new flamethrowers. That was for the Soviets. It was pretty awesome as well. I gotta say, overall, the weapons felt amazing. The vehicles felt amazing. The maps feel amazing. I have to rate this a 9.6 out of 10. If you want something that is very good and war related. I 100% recommend this. Thank you for watching this little review. If you liked it, go ahead and subscribe. If not, leave a comment. Tell me how I can do better. I'm going to be trying to work on stuff like this, some gameplay videos, some sports videos. I hope you liked it. Absolutely amazing DLC. Good job, Corvo. Have a good rest of your day.